If you're thinking about moving to Connecticut, or even just moving within Connecticut, there's one mistake that I see people make over and over and over again. They pick a town based on reputation instead of lifestyle. They hear one person say, oh, West Hartford's amazing, or everybody's moving to Glastonbury, or you have to be on the Shoreline. And then they buy a house, only to realize 6 months later that they bought the wrong lifestyle. Because Connecticut towns are wildly different from each other. Some towns look amazing online and feel dead in February, and some towns are beautiful, but the commute will slowly steal your soul one red light at a time. And some towns, honestly, they're the hidden gems that nobody from outside of Connecticut even knows exist. So in this video, I'm going to break down what I think are the top 10 suburbs and towns in Connecticut right now based on lifestyle, value, demand, convenience, charm, and what it actually feels like to live here. And I'm not just going to give you like the pretty IG version of it. I'm going to tell you the good, the bad, and the stuff that those other websites like Zillow or Realtor.com, they forget to mention. So I'm Devon with Dave Jones Realty. I'm a broker here in Connecticut. I've lived in Middletown for 10 years, and I specialize in the Middlesex County shoreline towns, helping people figure out not just what house to buy, but where they actually belong. Because the wrong town will cost you way more than the wrong house. So before you start scrolling Zillow at midnight again tonight, let's dive into these top towns. We're going to start with number 10, Washington, Connecticut. This is not your typical suburb. Washington is for people who want space, quiet, privacy, and honestly, just to disappear. You're in Litchfield County here. You have rolling hills, back roads, stone walls, farms, these long driveways, weekend antique shops, little coffee spots where everybody knows each other's dogs' names. This is quiet luxury Connecticut. It's not flashy, it's quiet. And there is a huge difference. A lot of New York buyers end up here because they want escape. They want the estate feel without being surrounded by neighbors 5 feet away. So sometimes they'll escape down to the shoreline, but then you're all packed into these, McMansions on the water, but you can reach out and touch your neighbor. Here in Washington, you're gonna get land, like real land. The kind where your Amazon driver questions his life choices heading down the quarter-mile driveway that is not paved. But here's a trade-off. You also don't get close to much. So you need major highway access every day. This is probably not your town. And while the homes are beautiful, inventory can move very strangely around here. Some homes are going to sit for others disappear instantly as if they're priced correctly. This is also one of those towns where upkeep matters. Beautiful land is amazing until you realize you're maintaining 6 acres and a 200-foot driveway in February. Everybody wants acreage until it's time to shovel. But if your dream is peace and privacy and nature and a slower lifestyle, Washington is hard to beat. So let's move to number 9. Simsbury? All right, Simsbury feels polished, like somebody organized the town with a label maker and good lighting. It's one of those towns where everything just feels really put together. There's beautiful homes, great outdoor access, Farmington River, you've got walking trails, bike trails, a nice town center. And it has that classic suburban Connecticut feel that people picture when they move here. Buyers love it because it feels calm without feeling isolated. And that's a really key difference. Now here's the downside. Simsbury is very competitive, like very, very competitive. Inventory stays low and good homes move very fast. So you're paying for the lifestyle, and that's not going to actually be a bargain here in Connecticut. This is the quote, we want quality of life Connecticut. And honestly, if you're relocating from somewhere more urban, Simsbury can feel a little sleepy at first. Connecticut sleepy is a real thing, by the way. Some towns absolutely shut down after 8 p.m. at night, like aggressively, like dunzo. But for families, outdoor lovers and people wanting that New England aesthetic. Simsbury checks all of those boxes. Number 8 might surprise you. I'm going to put number 8 as Shelton. And this might honestly be one of the best value plays in Connecticut right now. People want Fairfield County, right? There's a prestige about Fairfield County, but they don't want Fairfield County prices. So this is where Shelton will sneak in just a little bit. You've got access to Route 8, the Merritt Parkway, I-95, and that matters way more than people realize when they move here, especially if they're coming from the city. Connecticut traffic has its own little personality disorder. A commute that looks fine on Google Maps at 2 p.m. can be just like a crazy emotional warfare at 7:45 in the morning. But Shelton works because the location works. And the taxes actually tend to be lower than surrounding towns, which buyers absolutely notice once they start looking at those monthly payments. The town itself is more spread out, more than you would think. It doesn't have, a super charming downtown identity like some shoreline towns do, but what it does have is practicality. And you know what? Practicality is underrated in real estate, in my opinion. A lot of buyers move to Connecticut chasing, charm. And then they realize 6 months later that they really prefer easier parking and a Target nearby. So Shelton has a lot of momentum right now, and I think more buyers are starting to catch on to it. Number 7 is Madison. So now we're talking Shoreline, Connecticut. Madison is one of those towns that people just fall in love with. It's an emotional thing. It's an emotional attachment. The beaches, the town green, the restaurants, the coastal New England feel. It's like coming out of a Lifetime movie. It's postcard Connecticut. You don't just buy a house in Madison. You definitely buy this lifestyle. Summer farmers markets, ice cream after the beach, walking downtown at night. It's like that whole, again, like New England movie vibe. And if you've never experienced Connecticut shore towns in the summer, it's magical. So let me also give you the reality though. You are paying for that magic. Madison is not cheap. It's quite expensive. The inventory stays tight because once people get there, they tend to stay. There's not a lot of turnover there. And shoreline living sounds romantic until your insurance quotes arrive, and nobody really talks about that much. So you've got flood zones, coastal insurance, older homes near the water, and these are all things that buyers need to factor in before they emotionally spiral into buying a beach house after they've had a couple of those margaritas. And some shoreline towns feel very seasonal. The summer's going to be buzzing, you're going to have tons and tons of people, and then February can be like the opening scene of a Hallmark movie where everybody just disappeared. But if lifestyle matters to you more than square footage, Madison is absolutely one of Connecticut's best shoreline towns. Number 6 is Cheshire, and Cheshire is what I'd call dependable Connecticut. It's balanced, it's a good location, it's easy access to multiple cities, it has quiet neighborhoods and consistent demand. So this is one of those towns where people move in and then they just stay forever. Many of my buyers want to be in Cheshire, and it's wonderful, unless you're trying to buy there and there is no inventory. So Cheshire also has gotten more built up recently. There is definitely more shopping, there's more restaurants, Beer and Rondo is one of my favorites, more conveniences, but it still maintains that suburban feel. Now here's the downside. If you want a nightlife at all, this is not your town. If you want super walkable downtown with nonstop energy, probably not the place. Cheshire is more about consistency. It's more about comfort. It's more about community. It's a very raise your family, walk your dog, know your neighbors kind of a place. And honestly, there's something very stable about that, something that many, many people love, and it is reason that is number 6. Number 5, Glastonbury. Now this is one of the most well-rounded towns. You have everything there. You're going to have your suburban, you've got your shopping, you've got your restaurants, there's community events, beautiful neighborhoods, and then randomly, there's farmland. And that's one of the things that people don't realize or expect about Connecticut. Connecticut has so much farmland here. A town can go from luxury subdivisions to horses and cornfields in about 7.7 seconds. Glastonbury has a really nice blend of suburban convenience and then just rural beauty. It also stays consistently competitive because buyers, again, trust the town long term, and that's what matters. People want stability right now. All right, so we're always going to talk about the downsides, right? Downside, traffic. especially if you have to go to commute to Hartford. And if you know, you know. So like these are the days we're crossing the river. So when we talk about the river, we're talking about the Connecticut River. Everybody knows about the river. You want to be on one side of it or the other, right? Also, pricing has definitely climbed over the last couple of years in Glastonbury, but it remains one of the safer long-term bets in Connecticut real estate. So definitely one to check out. Number 4, I'm going to give to West Hartford. And honestly, West Hartford is probably the closest thing that Connecticut has to like a mini city suburb hybrid, if you will. This town has energy for sure. It's got the restaurants, it's got the nightlife, it's got the walkability, it's got shopping, it has lots of shopping. It's got the cute coffee shops and then the parks. You know, it kind of buzzes. Like there's just like this air about it when you're walking in that area. And that's kind of rare in Connecticut. A lot of Connecticut towns are beautiful but quiet. And West Hartford actually feels active. When you walk around West Hartford Center at night, it feels alive. And that matters to a lot of people that are relocating from the bigger cities. But now then here's the downside. Competition is brutal. Like schedule a showing on a Friday and it's gone by Sunday. Brutal. And that's not just these top 10 towns. That is very significant across the state. The taxes are definitely something buyers need to factor in here, and the lot sizes tend to be so much smaller. It is more dense suburban living compared to some other Connecticut towns. But if you want convenience and lifestyle and activity, West Hartford absolutely delivers. It also has a lot of older homes. So if you also want more antique homes, this is the place that you're going to go. Okay, so we're going to get into the top 3. And yes, Middlesex County is finally entering the chat. So number 3 is going to go to Essex. Essex is really what feels like a Hallmark movie set. Actually, there's been a couple of Hallmark videos or movies that have been shot there. So it's seriously just like one of the prettiest towns in Connecticut. It has marina life. It's got river views, remember, Connecticut River. It has historic homes. It has like these really cute little shops. It's totally a boating culture. So you feel like you stepped into a Connecticut or a New England postcard. And the town attracts a lot of people looking to slow life down a little bit. You have a lot of remote workers, you have a lot of retirees, you have people wanting charm over chaos. And there's a reason the inventory here is staying tight. The Connecticut River towns have become incredibly desired, especially post-2020. People realized they could work remotely and suddenly said, wait, I could live somewhere beautiful instead. I could live by the water instead. So Essex benefited massively from that shift. Okay, so where's the downside? You're gonna pay a lot for that charm. And older charming homes come with older charming problems. Everybody loves the 1700s colonial until the heating bill arrives and it's looking like a crazy ransom note. Also, if you need major retail or city convenience every day, Essex can feel a little small. But if your goal is quality of life and New England character, Essex is elite. Number 2, and we're almost there to number 1. Number 2 is going to be Guilford. And Guilford may be one of the most underrated shoreline towns in Connecticut. You get shoreline lifestyle, but it feels more year-round and grounded than some of the more seasonal coastal towns, let's say like Old Saybrook. You've got an amazing green in Guilford. You've got restaurants, you've got shops, train access, which is a huge, huge plus. And then you've also got your beaches. And you're still positioned really well between New Haven and the rest of the shoreline. Guilford feels balanced, and that's what makes it so attractive. It's charming without feeling overly touristy. It's upscale without feeling overly flashy. And buyers really do love that. The inventory here is staying incredibly competitive, especially for updated homes near the water or near the green. And pricing has climbed a lot over the last few years because shoreline demand overall has exploded. But Guilford remains one of the strongest lifestyle towns in Connecticut, in my opinion. All right, and finally, we get to number 1. Alrighty, drum roll. And finally, we get to my number 1. It's Middletown. So yes, I'm totally biased because I live here and I lived here for 10 years. But honestly, Middletown gives you one of the best combinations of lifestyle, convenience, value, and variety. There is walkability downtown. We have so many restaurants, especially if you like Italian. We've got the Wesleyan University energy. We have riverfront access. You can go Route 9. You can get to Hartford. You can get to New Haven. You can get to the Shoreline. We have condos, lots of condos. We have colonials, old colonials, 1700s colonials to new build. We have raised ranches. You know, your antique homes, again, 1700s, 1800s, and then newer subdivisions, and we have a bunch of over 55 communities. You have neighborhoods that feel completely different from each other. South Farm, which is where I live, feels totally different than downtown versus Westfield, which feels different from, let's say, the river area. And that variety matters because not everybody wants the same Connecticut experience. And Middletown gives buyers more opportunities than a lot of other towns have because they've become so financially out of reach. All right, so of course we got to go through the downsides. Every town's going to have its trade-offs. So some areas are going to be busier, some neighborhoods are going to be older. Property conditions vary a lot more than cookie-cutter suburbs, but that's also kind of what gives Middletown its personality. It feels real. And I think more buyers are starting to recognize that, especially people that are relocating out of state who want access, community, restaurants, and actual lifestyle without needing $1 million budget to participate. And here's the thing buyers from outside of Connecticut need to understand. Inventory across Connecticut is still incredibly tight. So we are 5 months into 2026 and we have a serious lock-in effect. So many homeowners refinance below 3% that they do not want to move. Which means that when a great house comes on the market in a great town, everybody shows up. That's why strategy matters here, and the town matters. You have to think about what your commute is going to be, and that matters. Lifestyle matters. I'd rather talk somebody out of the wrong town than let them buy emotionally and regret it later. Because buying the wrong town is expensive, and it's way more expensive than buying the wrong paint color. So if you're thinking about moving anywhere in Connecticut, especially Middlesex County, Shoreline towns, or anywhere around central Connecticut, reach out. I help people figure this stuff out every single day. We're going to budget, we're going to lifestyle, we're going to work at commute, and we're going to look at the future plans because it all matters. And we'll tell you straight whether a town actually fits those goals or not. So if this video helped you, make sure you subscribe because I will put a lot of Connecticut real estate content, market updates, neighborhood breakdowns, and relocation advice out there. So I want to know in the comments, what Connecticut towns surprised you the most and which towns do you think should have made this list? I do read every comment, and as always, I'm Devon from Dave Jones Realty, where we do everything but the package.